I'm just going quickly back because I forgot to press record. Check in with yourself, and you can press pause to read it if you're watching the recording. That was like the introduction, and this is a bit more of the introduction of why we're doing this, because you're worth it. And this is what we're covering today. Again, press pause to read. And today is based on this retreat process. So I'm going to invite you to center yourself, first of all, and we're going to come and be relaxed, let go of the outside world. So there's going to be two parts to this. First of all, a little, very short relaxation. And then if you have got one of my finger labyrinths, you can do this next exercise with that, or we're just going to use our palms as well. So I'm drawing a spiral on our palm and going back. So that's what we're going to do. So properly relax and unwind. So I invite you to lower your gaze. You're very welcome to turn your camera off while you're doing this. It's entirely up to you, but lower your gaze or close your eyes and make sure you're comfortable. Get yourself in a comfortable position. I've got my eyes closed too. And take some deep breaths in and longer breaths out. Now, as you're breathing out, feel your body relax and go saggy. Let the tensions from today flow away. Let your breathing return to whatever normal breathing you like. And just be aware of your body and the points of contact between your body and the furniture or the floor. Just feel yourself sinking and going heavy into those points. Take a moment to think about the 4 corners of the ceiling and then the 4 corners of the floor, or however many corners you have. And just to imagine that this is your safe space for the next 50 minutes or so. And within this space is just you and your thoughts. It's a container, it's a space. You might like to decorate it and put up some imaginary fairy lights, or imagine that it's a particular colour, or maybe that it has a green screen like I have with the northern lights. You can imagine what you have on the walls, as if a video is playing or you have a green screen. You might like to imagine what sounds you can hear, any kind of soothing sound, or maybe just silence. You might like to imagine what you can smell. Perhaps think of a favourite smell. Like coconut or chocolate or coffee or perfume or grass. Take a deep breath of that smell in and just think about how you feel when you smell that nice smell. I was in the woods yesterday, so I'm by a cedar tree, and I'm going to think about that. I can't smell it, but I'm thinking about it and thinking about how I felt. Now I invite you to imagine what you can feel. Maybe you can feel the grass, or the air on your skin, the sun on your face, or the rough texture of bark of a tree. And think about what you can hear. Birds or waves or trees or buzzing of bees. And what you can taste. Maybe you can imagine you've just had a drink of lemonade or eaten some chocolate or licked an ice cream or just had some water. A nice taste that helps you to relax. Now just feeling all the tension flowing out of your body as you come away from your busy day into this peaceful space. Letting your forehead relax, your face, your neck. Imagine a wave of relaxation going over your shoulders and down your arms, washing away the tension all the way out of your fingertips. Letting the wave of relaxation flow down your back and down your front, over your hips and your pelvis, down your legs, your knees, your lower legs, your feet, and washing it all away from your toes. You can repeat that if you like in your head, imagining the wave of relaxation flowing down your body. Or just sit and enjoy. Now I invite you to pick up your labyrinth or your palm and have one palm out flat. And with your other hand, just draw a spiral starting out around the side of your palm and gradually making its way into the center, bringing you into the moment. When you get to the center, just pause. Take a deep breath in and a longer breath out. And draw the spiral back out again. And hold your hand over your palm or over the labyrinth and take some deep breaths in and out. And that brings us into the moment and into the session. I've got my notes. Where are my notes? So as I said, we carry lots of pain, particularly as women. I mean, obviously men have pain and their pain can be of a differing amounts and types, but obviously us women carry particular pains. And some of those are physical and some of those are psychological. And these are the things that I thought of that either I have pains I carry or have carried, pains that my clients have. And you may have your own ones. So I'm going to invite you now, if you have a phone, just to sit and think about, first of all, just sit and think with yourself, make a note maybe of what are your pains. And then rather than share them individually, I thought we could make a word cloud. So if you sit with yourself, first of all, and have a minute or two, just thinking about the pains, physiological and psychological, that you carry, and then, and people you know as well, if you, because sometimes we, obviously sometimes it's easier to talk about other people's pain or to talk about other people's pain alongside ours so that it's less, I say we're not able to do a full therapy session in a short amount of time. So yes, when you've had a sit and think about the different types of pain and where the pain comes from, if you would like to go to menti.com on your phone or other tab or whatever, and it will ask you to put in that code. And then it's basically, we create a word cloud. You put in the words and phrases, and it will come up, and we'll see. I'm going to change my... Where is it?
Sorry, Kathy, could you just give me that code again, please? I'm doing it on my phone, so I don't have to switch.
Oh, yeah, I've got it here. It's 7508
Yeah,
2363.
thank you.
Oops. There we are. Right, let's have a look. Got... We just sit with these at the moment. They are big things. So we'll just sit with them for a moment. To 4 different people. Obviously, you all know me, or different parts of the country, different parts, things going on, but some very similarities. Now, I'm going to move on to the next one, and talking about how it shows up, how pain or the cause of what it shows up in your body. So you get a chance to put in some more. I think that's because I was trying to get the picture and I switched to a different one. So I recognize a lot of these, even the ones I didn't put in myself. I don't know about you. I feel like there's more similarities here than in the previous one, although there were similarities. Yeah. So this is sort of where we are, tuning into where we are. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Remember, if you want to put in the comments, if you don't want to speak out, or obviously there's no obligation to say anything, but I want to give you the opportunity if you do. I'm going to switch back to the other. So these were the things that I'd written down, but obviously that we had a load more there as well. So this is, and that's quite a lot to take, isn't it? It's quite a lot to holding all of that. That's a lot to hold.
Yeah, I'm happy to comment if that's okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I know I've been carrying a few things, emotional, mental load for 3.5, 4 years now. And it's been really hard, really, really hard to be functioning, and the outward, I suppose, image, if you like, that we also all have to carry, still have to function in the world. And that can be hard when you're carrying something very private that you don't want all and sundry to know about. But literally, what is it now? September 22nd. Yeah, 1st of September, I decided I need to start choosing myself and how I'm going to show up for myself now. And it's been really liberating. And the last 5 days in particular, where I've been, one friend I've not seen for 1.5 years, another one it's probably been a couple of years. I then went to a wicked outdoor performance that ended up being cancelled at Ascot House because it was too windy to run, but we still ended up at a friend's house and watched it anyway. Going to the gym and actually tuning into my body, and instead of avoiding the pain of working out, realizing it's not actually that bad, and just focusing on myself and ditching decision making for other people, family members. A silly example, my daughter, 13-year-old, just moved up to upper school, and last week it was like, Mum, what should I have for my lunch? And at 13, she's contrary anyway. No matter what I say, it'll be the wrong answer. So I just looked at her and said, well, once you've decided, you let me know and I'll get it ready for you. And I offloaded that decision, because it starts from the morning almost. And it's like, let it go. It's not my job to work out what somebody else, even my own child, wants for her lunch. It's not my job. And so it's just, like I say, showing up for myself now, not expecting it from anyone else, primary relationship, etc. And it's been really liberating, and actually creating joy in myself, and just finding my voice and using it, and just tuning into me and my needs. And that's just brought some, it's unlocked some of the things that have been going on for far too long. And it's like, okay, let that go now, and focus on where you need to move forward with kindness and compassion to myself. I don't need to beat myself up, forgive myself. Actually, it's probably the biggest thing. Forgive myself for the things that were never mine to own. Let them go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, brilliant. What a great, great. I think what you've said, sort of what I'm coming on to next. So that's brilliant. Because I was thinking is, how do we get there? How do we get to the place that we are holding all of those? And either sometimes it's because we've been squashed down, or our emotions have been squashed down. We're told we can't feel them. We have to get on. We have to look after, like you said, Fazana, we have to be looking after everybody else. So, making decisions for everybody else. So what we want, what our needs are, our feelings, it gets squashed down. I can't think about that today. I can't deal with that today because I'm too busy. I've got all these other things I need to be doing. So I need to squash down my uncomfortable feelings, and so that I can then get on. Or sometimes we feel boxed in because we have feelings that we need, that we want to express, but we haven't got a way to express them. We are boxed in. We can't, and ourselves are boxed in because we are too much if we let ourselves out, or our feelings are too much for other people. So we are, boxed in. We feel like we can't say or be or do what our body needs us to do ourselves. And that can feel really isolating. And then we end up feeling alone because there's no way of creating connection. And some people don't want to hear what we want to talk about, or we worry what judgments other people might have if we do say some of these things that we're thinking or feeling. And so then we're just alone with them, and then they sit with us and take us and eat us up. Or we are literally told, you're not allowed to feel like that. You're not allowed to behave like that or want that. When we turn up at the doctors and say, I've had this chronic pain, or my feelings are like this, I'm feeling really depressed. And we're literally gaslit and told, no, you can't be feeling like that. No, you can't have periods that are that long or that painful. No, well, no, you can't be feeling that you've got this trauma from whatever, because that's not how it happens. Or the things that caused the trauma, you're told, didn't happen, and that they did. And what's running under a lot of these things is that there are unwritten rules that society has about being a woman and having pain, having trauma. And I thought we could just spend a couple of minutes brainstorming. You can call out or put into the chat. It's going to let me do my annotating. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find it. So, what are the unwritten rules that society has of how we this is what how either society feels that how we should behave or think or feel, or the internalized rules that you have adopted, or other people, other women you know have adopted inside about what you feel that you should do. So I'm going to start like put others' needs first. Got the chat. Yeah, we should sacrifice, shouldn't we? Sacrifice. Yeah. We should be quiet. I still feel that that's quite a thing, that we as women should be quiet. Yeah, and that our unmet needs are, it's okay for us to have unmet needs because we put other people first, and and that we are caring all the time, that we don't mind. Yeah. That we will keep going, you know. It's a whole joke. There isn't jokes about it. Man flu, oh, men just go and lie down and we keep going. And because we are the default. That it's noble to suffer. Yeah. It's a lot about women's suffering, it's baked into. And so what's the result then? That when we accept all these, that we are, sometimes you see going round the wonderful internet, this thing that, well, if women were so good, men have invented all these things, and you go, yeah, only on the back of women's labor. And actually we've also written out of history what women have invented, but you can't go off and wouldn't it be nice to go off and invent things and not have to do all the other stuff, not have to have somebody who does all your washing, your cooking. It'd be quite nice to go and do that. Oh, I like that. Thank you. Yeah, we become vanilla. We slowly become unseen and unheard. We become vanilla. Yeah. For every successful man is a very tired and worn out woman. And this idea is because we, and it might seem a big faluting thing to say, oh, us having our trauma, our pain being belittled or ignored, that, that on an individual level, that's not like bigger society, but it is because of all the structures of how things have been created by that society. Right. Okay. Thank you. So where do we go with all this? Where do we go with all this? Well, let me find click. Where am I clicking? Oh, I've got to stop annotating, that's why. I just want to save that actually. Oops, yes, I knew that was going to happen. Oops. Oops. You have to find the annotate button again. Oh. Nope. Sorry. I got find where I've been. This clear all drawings. There we are. Some of you know this or a poem already because this is a favourite of mine, and this sort of sums it up. She sat at the back and they said she was shy. She led from the front and they hated her pride. They asked her advice and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud, then were shocked by her silence. When she shared no ambition, they said it was sad. So she told them her dreams and they said she was mad. They told her they'd listen, then covered their ears and gave her a hug while they laughed at her fears. And she listened to all of it, thinking she should be the girl they told her to be, best as she could. But one day she asked what was best for herself. So instead of trying to please everyone else, so she walked to the forest and stood with the trees. She heard the wind whisper and dance with the leaves, and she spoke to the willow, the elm, and the pine, and she told them what she'd been told time after time. She told them that she never felt nearly enough. She was either too little or far, far too much, too loud or too quiet, too fierce or too weak, too wise or too foolish, too bold or too meek. Then she found a small clearing surrounded by firs, and she stopped and she heard what the trees said to her. And she sat there for hours, not wanting to leave, for the forest said nothing. It just let her breathe. Yeah, so and those this is basically what my retreats are about. Is that like coming back to ourselves and tuning into, because we get to be this point in our lives and we sometimes forget we've squashed down the 18, 19, 20-year-old, the 8-year-old that we were to fit into the boxes. And because we're not told we're not allowed to do things, we shouldn't feel things. And so this is about getting back to ourselves. And it starts, I think, with connecting back to your body. And I've just got some ideas here. And I'll send you a copy of all the slides so that you can. But these are the things that I found particularly good for connecting to my body. So being in nature, relaxation, meditation, gratitude, and we're going to do a bit of gratitude in a bit, and closing the bones, which I know I've talked to all of you about, and Fazana's experienced it, journaling, physical activity, swimming when you are feeling where your body is, and being almost naked as well, that brings you to yourself. And yoga nidra I like, because that's tuning into yourself as well, feeling different parts of your body. So these are ideas. So we connect to our body, and then we can, these are what I see are the steps. So first of all, we have to just start with ourselves. We have to start with our nervous system. We have to start with getting sleep, feeding, looking after ourselves, releasing what we can, because releasing pain doesn't happen just in one. So it's starting to release little bits, and calling in and thinking about what we need. And to do that, connecting with our body can help us to work out what we need. So building, and you have to start with your safety. And then it's about building your strength, because you need the safety first so that you can move forward. But you also then need the strength to do that. So yeah, connecting with yourself, and that's when you've built your safety, you then can really start to recognize and acknowledge your feelings. It's good to connect to others, and that's when maybe you're building a team, maybe a therapist or friend that you can talk to, support structures for other things, and also just listening to your wisdom and trusting, tuning in again, because when we've pushed things down, we've often had to ignore and switch off listening to our inner intuition. But it makes us stronger when we are. And then when you've built your safety and you've built your strength, then you can move on to building your power. So honoring your voice, choosing your battles, recognizing your worth, and releasing more pain in a bigger way. So we talked about releasing small bits that you can, and maybe having ritual, and obviously doing it with self-compassion, just like Fazana said. Does that resonate? Yeah. Good. We're talking, and I'm going to talk now a bit more about the elements in those 3 steps. And the first one, physical regulation, it's called your dose. So that these are the 4 happy hormones: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And physical regulation and boosting your happy hormones isn't going to fix your pain, shame, blame, trauma, but it will make it a little bit easier to carry. Yes, I'll send you, you get a copy of this. So yeah, and they're little things that you can do. They're not going to change the world, but they might change the day, the moment, and make things a little easier. And they help to regulate, to take you out of your from your fight or flight into your rest and digest stage. I really like this definition of self-help. So I think, because there's self-care, and that's a bit like those things that we saw on that previous slide, were self-care, things that we can do that look after ourselves, but they don't they help us cope with every day and boost our hormones, but they don't help us necessarily address everything. This is self-help, is when you are sitting and noticing your thoughts and noticing your behaviors and being aware of your emotions and having coping strategies. And then I think then after that you get self-therapy. So self-care, self-help, and self-therapy. So this is going deeper. This is where you get deeper healing. And doing retreats, spending lots of time in nature, labyrinths, forest bathing, and then also, talking therapy, psychotherapy, and pilgrimages and travel give you that time to really reflect. can't always do that when you've got small kids or no money or whatever, but there's other things that some of these things you can do. So then thinking about releasing, these are some ideas of things that you can do in small or big ways into releasing, or at least holding things less tightly. And maybe that there are things here that you are particularly drawn to. I'm going to put these in the I'm doing a follow-up email tomorrow, and I'll have these, and then you can think about which of these you're more drawn to doing. And when you've got your strength, then you might, or anytime, you might want to actually share, speak, and name your pain, name your trauma. But they're just some things to think about. And telling your story, you don't have to share it. You can write it for yourself. You could create a voice note for yourself, or you could choose somebody to talk to. Naming your feelings and your fears and creating your own safe space. So hopefully you've had a safe space today, but thinking about what is the safe space for you. And it might not be a counselor's room. It might be the woods, or for me, a labyrinth. And so after you create your safe space, how do you create your power? And then you can release. And when I'm talking about this, complaints, actually addressing, because sometimes we need to actually address our pain. It's all very good to learn ways of coping with it, but sometimes we need to actually say, no, this wasn't right. And that's not saying you have to take a legal route or even share with the person who did you wrong, but it's just getting it out there that this wasn't right. So I'm going to invite you now. I'm going to do another little relaxation, another spiral or finger labyrinth. And this time we're going to do it in when you are moving your finger around your palm in a spiral towards the center. I'm going to invite you to think about, what do I need? On the way in, pause in the middle and take some deep breaths. And then on the way out, just have your mind open. Then thinking about what you need to release, what you need to receive. Hopefully those things will come to you. About tuning in. I invite you to close your eyes or turn your gaze down. Take some deep breaths in and longer breaths out. A longer breath out in your own rhythm. A longer breath out helps to move into the rest and digest stage. Let your shoulders drop. Let your arms and feet be relaxed. And let your jaw and forehead be smooth and relaxed. Now picking up your hand or your finger labyrinth. Start taking your finger, doesn't matter which one, or even your thumb, for a walk around your palm, starting around the outside of your palm, and then slowly making a spiral round and round and round till you get to the middle. Thinking, what do I need? And when you get to the middle, pause, take some deep breaths in and longer breaths out. Wait a moment, and when you're ready, start going back the other way. And when you've finished, put your hand over your palm. Take a deep breath in and a longer breath out. If you want to write or record down anything that came to you while you were doing that. It's just a reminder to be gentle with yourself. So here we have, this is what we've done today. We've centered ourselves, we've connected to our body and thought about the pain that we have and how it shows up. We've turned in and thought about what do I need, and thought about then being open to releasing and receiving. And hopefully taking Fazana's example about prioritizing yourself, and this isn't saying we don't care for other people or do other things, but that yeah. So I'm going to put this in an email. These are some suggestions that you can think of going forward. Think about 3 ways that you can connect to your body, 3 ways to regulate your nervous system that work for you. You know, what of those list? What is it that you need? Is there any therapy or self-therapy that calls to you? Oops. And what can you do to release? And then hopefully that you guys come what's next. Oh yeah, I'll come back. No, I will go. So, I mean, I know you all know this different ways, but I now can do one-to-one labyrinths at Toff Manor, one-to-one sessions during the week. This forest bathing, I can give you tips. I can do one-to-one forest bathing, and I'm planning to do some more forest bathing sessions locally coming up. Retreat days, obviously, closing the bones, and I've started to do a Mindful Mondays email, so do look for that. And I think you all know about my Release and Rise day retreats that's next month, and we're going to be doing the Flat Labyrinth, Closing the Bones, the Earth Womb Labyrinth, and then finishing with a fire. And that picture is me and my friend Polly, who's a psychotherapist, and she's going to be doing the retreat day with me and bringing some of her bodywork stuff for Peso Boyden, which is a bodywork psychotherapy, which is really good. And we're going to weave those in. They're going to be part of those things that we're doing. So I know you've that are with me today know about this, but obviously the people recording, if you've got any questions, we are closing the this is particularly for pregnancy loss, pregnancies that were interrupted due to abortion, miscarriage, second pregnancy, baby loss, and stillbirth, and having some specific healing around that. And we're closing we need to get numbers, so we're closing the registrations for this on Tuesday evening. Right, last thing is to just check in with yourself and how you are feeling now. And if you want to reflect on how that differs from where you were, I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you to people watching on the recording. Do message me with any thoughts you have.
Just before you stop recording, Kathy, just so
yes.
that you can hear it too, if you choose to keep this part.
Yes.
Having been to a number of Kathy's retreats over the years, I found her by accident. I don't even remember, and I nervously went off on my own, didn't know anyone there. But for those that don't know Kathy, you know, her energy and what she brings to those retreats is beautiful. One of those retreats, I forget which one, we were given that poem as we walked the labyrinth.
And you still got it?
And I have framed it, and it stays just to the side of my desk. And sometimes when I'm dusting it away, it reminds me to read it, because I think the last verse is probably the most poignant, to remember that, you know, we just need to hear ourselves sometimes. We do have the answers, and we look for them externally. They're all along, but we sometimes can't face them. So yeah, I just wanted to say how brilliant Kathy's work is, and how she's just so nurturing and gives so freely, and it's always a great environment when we get together. So I hope Kathy does a more generic one rather than the lost one, because I'm always eagerly awaiting for the dates for when they might come up next. That's all I wanted to add.
Lovely, thank you. I really appreciate that, Fazana. Yes, and watch this space. I'm going to stop the recording.